Okay. You ready? Where's my timer? All right. According to USDebtClock.org, as of April 17th, every one of you can add $41,496 to your personal debt. Thanks to the federal government, our national debt is approaching $13 trillion. That is over $116,000 for every taxpayer. The amount of money the federal government is spending is staggering. Our current path is unsustainable. Today, I will discuss just how truly serious this problem is and how we will get out of it. If increases in federal spending do not stop, and we do not make cuts to our current level of spending, Americans will see levels of despair not seen since the Great Depression. America has a cancer, and we must work tirelessly to cure it. The amount of spending Obama and the Democratic Congress has leveled on you is out of control. According to Biz India magazine, Obama and the Democratic Congress have decided that they can spend your money at a rate nearly 4 times faster than President Bush. They do not care how much of your money they waste as long as it gives them more control. They pay no attention to the danger, blindly following their ideology. This chart from the Heritage Foundation shows that federal spending per household is out of control. You can see the increase here where Obama took office. The federal government now spends more per household than most families make in an entire year. Within a week after signing the new medical bill, it was reported that it is safer to lend money to Warren Buffett than it is to the United States government. At this rate, the U.S. will lose its AAA credit rating, interest rates will rise, and as a result, more of your money will go to foreign governments, multinational corporations, and other investors. This chart shows that Obama has increased federal spending while at the same time decreasing tax revenue. Here you can see the amazing amount of debt Obama has planned for us. Here's where he took office. And this chart shows you just how high the 11% deficit to GDP ratio is. It's the highest that we've seen since World War II. We now spend more money on interest alone than we do on the EPA and the Department of Labor combined. Perhaps the best way to illustrate this is to look at a country just a little further down the road than we are, Greece. According to Wikipedia, Greece's debt to GDP ratio is 113%. They are going bankrupt and having to cut salaries and benefits to government workers. As a result, these workers have gone on strike, and hospitals, schools, and airports are shut down or running at very low capacity. Greece's government irresponsibly spent taxpayers' money, and the quality of life is in a sharp decline. All of this is happening at a debt to GDP ratio of 113%. Our current debt to GDP ratio is 89% and rising. All of this is said just to show just how truly serious this problem is. Yet Obama does not focus on this cancer. Instead, he chose to focus on what is relatively a sprained ankle, healthcare, and in so doing, he made the cancer worse. According to the Cato Institute, the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act will cost $6 trillion and add $5 trillion to our already $13 trillion debt. This does not include the cost of business that will be forced to cut jobs. According to National Journal, AT&T will have to pay $1 billion, Verizon $970 million, John Deere and Boeing $150 million, Prudential and Caterpillar $100 million, Lockheed Martin $90 million, and 3M $85 million. The list goes on and on. All in all, the total cost of business of this healthcare bill will be $2.8 billion. That's $2.8 billion in jobs cut by the Obama administration. Obviously, we will not get out of a $19 trillion debt easily. It's a huge problem and will take vast amounts of work to get out of. Due to time constraints, I'm going to focus on what is the largest single step we can take to get out of this great financial mess that has been forced upon us. We must and we will repeal the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. This bill is against the wishes of a large majority of the United States citizenry. It is the first time in history a sweeping passive legislation is passed without a single vote from the opposition party, and will destroy our health care. Even if none of this were true, it would still be necessary to repeal this bill because we simply cannot afford it. It is the very definition of the term irresponsible legislation. Healthcare coverage for everyone is a great idea, but so is getting a pony on your 5th birthday. Only the most ignorant parent would buy their child a pony, knowing it would bankrupt the family and cost them her home. And yet this is exactly what Obama has done. He has put us on the path to bankruptcy and giving us a pony in hopes that we will look the other way and give him more control. But we're not 5, we won't look the other way, and we will hold the administration responsible. Not repealing this bill adds $20,000 in debt to every American. Cutting this will cut $5 trillion from the national debt. This is the best way toward fiscal responsibility because of the innumerable amount of benefits that come along with it. It is perhaps the most obvious, most common sense decision in the current political landscape. Ask any economist and they will tell you that the only way to reduce costs is to either increase supply or decrease demand. Yet this bill does neither. In fact, it decreases supply and increases demand. If it is not repealed, brace yourself for higher healthcare costs and longer patient wait times. Repealing this bill will extend tax breaks of $2.8 billion to American businesses, allowing them to expand hiring instead of increasing layoffs. Repealing this bill gets rid of a penalty to small businesses, who currently face up to $100,000 in fines per year for hiring a 50th employee, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. Repealing this bill increases choices for Americans. Instead of being forced to choose from 3 government-approved plans, Americans will be free to choose what is best for them, continuing to pioneer the value that has made America into what it is today, liberty. How practical is this plan? It's the most common sense decision in the current political landscape. Cutting government spending reduces the national debt. That is not rocket science. Opponents say that repealing this bill will take away affordable care to Americans. That's not true. Repealing this bill protects Americans from the bankruptcy of the federal government. It increases the amount of jobs and gives Americans more money to spend on health care that will cost less. Opponents claim that repealing this bill will increase the deficit. I'm not sure how they're going to do this with a straight face. They're actually going to try and tell you that cutting $6 trillion in spending will increase the deficit. America is about to drive off of a cliff, and we're more concerned about changing the radio station. Every day, we add $4 billion to our national debt. You will pay over $6,100 in interest alone. I'm quite certain that every one of you knows how to spend $41,000 in debt better than the federal government. We have to work to elect fiscally responsible candidates. Candidates who pledge to repeal this bill. Democrats are spending money at unsustainable rates. We must unite behind candidates who pledge to stop them. Here in Colorado's 4th District, Cory Gardner is just such a candidate. He has pledged on his website to repeal this bill. I encourage every one of you to support him and to remove the incompetent Betsy Markey. She is unwilling to talk to constituents about health care, and when that happens, it is time for a representative to leave office. Join me in taking this first step back towards a strong economic standing in the world.
So you would just remove this plan, and would you just want it to go back to how it was before the plan, or would you want something